Salutations, kindred souls. Welcome to another episode of Lux Martin Enlightenment. I'm Lux, and on this channel, we talk about how healing, wisdom, and integration are the tools to your most enlightened life. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most liberating shifts a sensitive soul can make, from being a bridge to becoming a lighthouse. What that means is if you resonate with the terms empath, highly sensitive person, if you're a person with a big heart, you're a giver, you're a healer, a light worker, you have a big heart to help people in general. There is a mode of which healers, empaths, all of those people of that nature are being called to rise into, in which we are no longer being a bridge type of role in the world. So I'm noticing this in both my life and across as a much larger collective, like you could even say across humanity. Empathic people are being called to shift into a new form of duty, for lack of a better word, new role, way in which they embody that role, which is from being a bridge type empath to being a lighthouse. So in this episode, we're going to talk about what it means to be a bridge, what it means to be a lighthouse, why empathic people are highly susceptible of being bridges, and then shifting from caring to shining, shifting from being a bridge type of empathic person to a lighthouse type of empathic person, and the beauty of what that does for both yourself and others, okay? So we're going to start with what it means to be as a bridge. When you're an empathic person, you have a big heart, you want to help people, you often start this journey as a bridge, myself included. I was absolutely that from an early childhood state onward until very recently, and in which being a bridge means, hands down, you carry weight that isn't yours. You try to get people from where they are to where they should be, regardless of whose should be that is. It's I need to help get you from A to B. You stretch yourself thin in becoming responsible for other people's healing choices and emotions. That was me to a T from a very young age, taking on everyone else's sadness, stress, emotions. And I had no idea why I was doing it or that I was doing it. It's just that I grew up a very emotional and depressed little person because I had no idea that what I was actually doing was just being the dumping bowl for a lot of people in my life, a lot of their emotions, their baggage, their things that they couldn't deal with. And so I didn't understand what to do with it other than hold it myself. You often, your bridgeness, your being a bridge often comes from empathy and love. Myself included. I thought I was being the strong one in the family. I thought that that was what I was supposed to do in my family, was be a peacekeeper, be an emotion holder. But that's actually often coming out of trauma, survival patterns, coping mechanisms, ways that you dealt with early life to get by, to continue on. It kind of helped shape who you were in your growing up process, myself included. I'm the epitome of being a wounded empath because of what I took on in my young years. So, and then the last point we want to make about a bridge is that bridges don't often break gracefully. When they collapse, it's catastrophic. If you're the type of person that notices that you go through regular phases of burnout or rock bottom points in your life, you may be operating as an empath from a bridge type position. I've seen me do it. I've seen me hit many, many cycles of burnout and rock bottom moments of, I just can't carry this anymore. I'm a hot mess of a human. I can't take care of myself, let alone anybody else. And so that is the main key points in identifying, are you an empathic person that operates in a bridge type style of the way you are empathic, of the way you see yourself as a healer? Now we're going to very clearly discern what it means to be a lighthouse type of empath. A lighthouse has one job. It stands where it is and shines. It doesn't chase the ships. It doesn't go out into the storms. It doesn't carry someone across the ocean. It simply is what it is. That can be bright, shiny, clear. It can be yellow. It can be orange. It can be flames. It can be whatever you are. But in your clear discernment of lighthouseness, of standing in who you are, your healing, your work, all the things, whatever flavor that is for you. I'm not saying it has to be any particular type of lighthouse, but it simply is what it is. It remains where it is and shines on. People can use a lighthouse to guide themselves or not. That is the beauty in lighthouse empathic healing is that either way, the lighthouse is not responsible for another person's navigation. It is what it is. It's doing what it's doing. It's being what it's meant to be, which is a lighthouse. And it is anyone else's job to steer their own ship. What I'm not saying is that this type of empath is a, suck it up, buttercup, figure it out yourself. You're on your own. That's not what this is at all. So I want to be very clear about that distinction, that being a lighthouse isn't about cold detachment. It's the healthiest, most loving kind of thing you can do for yourself and others, because you're giving people the power and the sovereignty to choose how they want to do their life and navigate how they want to navigate while you continue to do you, be you. That's what's healthiest and best for everyone. Their navigation isn't at the cost of you ever. And that's what being an empath and a healer truly is about. Something that I'll discern in my next point of why empathic and highly sensitive people tend to become bridges is because maybe you often heard growing up that being the helper, or being the strong one, or being the healer of the family meant taking on everyone's emotional baggage, or meant holding up or translating everyone's emotions, or being the peacekeeper. I absolutely took that on at a very young age, but it was at the cost of my own emotional stability and ability to regulate myself. I used to believe things like, if I can just help them, they'll be okay, we'll be okay. I used to think that my safety and well-being relied on if I could truly help this other person do or be something different. I used to think they can't do it without me. That is a very cruel and disempowering statement. When you are the type of empath that believes that someone can't do it without you, you disempower somebody else in that you show them that you don't have the belief in them that they can do it themselves, that they can figure it out. That's a very painful place to be when you're in the position of feeling like somebody's telling you that you can't make it without them, as well as it's not healthy for you and another person because you're creating this terribly toxic codependent relationship where you can't be what you're meant to be. You can't be more without me saving you. And that's kind of where we also get into resolving this not so correct identity that empaths need to save people. I operate under the belief system now that no one needs saving. Even as an empath, as a light worker, as a healer, I don't operate as a healer that believes that anyone needs saving, let alone that I'm anyone's savior. That's a really important distinction to resolve as you start to understand why empathic people often start out as bridges, myself included. And that's just often what we were taught, whether it's from family or society or just what we chose to believe and keep repeating to ourselves. And that, for me, that solidified an identity for a long time that I was an empathic person as a bridge. And I had no idea what that was until very recently in my life. And in all the while, in all of that, my sensitivity was a curse. It was an obligation. It wasn't an intuitive superpower. So in this healing, what I will tell you is that in this healing and transitioning from being a bridge to becoming a lighthouse, your sensitivity becomes your intuitive superpower, your gift to the world, rather than a painful curse that you carry around, trudging around through your life, hoping that you can help others. Empaths that are bridges often also experience your compassion fatigue, your self-abandonment, and your burnout. I saw me do that cycle after cycle, years and years of repeating the burnout and the fatigue phase of, I just can't care anymore. I literally don't have the capacity to care, to help, to do much of anything. Yeah. And so in your understanding that maybe this is where you came from, maybe this is what you were taught, or what your family or friends or immediate environment taught you that you had to be to survive, let alone be somebody that could be helpful, useful, doing your life's purpose in the world. That's an identity shift. That is the first and most part. That's the first step in changing from a bridge type empath to a lighthouse type empath. So in actuality of talking about that word shift here, now we're going to move on to talking about the shift from caring to shining. It's a process. It's often quiet. It's can be lengthy. It's not an overnight type of choice or switch. And it starts with the inner work. 110% Moving from bridge to lighthouse is the result of inner work. The inner work on you is the fuel. Understanding your boundaries, understanding self-awareness, choosing your authenticity over giving, saying no when you want to say yes, but you know what's healthier is to say no. Asking yourself continually, is this mine? Understanding what is and isn't yours to carry and starting to separate those things in your life. And lastly, in your shift from caring to shining comes, first you do the inner work, then you do a lot of work around allowing people the dignity of their process, getting over the ego trip of people need me, people need saving, I need to help them, they need to be shown the way by me. Getting over that ego trip belief system is a huge step in shifting to the lighthouse in a graceful, quiet, dignified, and also humble way. Allowing people the dignity of their process, regardless of how messy it is, because in your lighthouseness, you're showing them that you believe that they can do it if they want to. In your bridgeness, or getting down in the ditches with them and suffering with them and reaching out and saying, you can't climb out of this without me, you're disempowering both of you in the process. So in that shifting, I will say that this is quite a process. I would say this was a good couple year process of me not only building the awareness of what I was and how I was operating, then deciding I wanted to do something different, then understanding what I needed to work on and get rid of in order to be in a place where I was truly the right kind of healer and helper. So I will tell you that in my real experience, I went from rock bottom, I can't live like this anymore, I can't feel like this anymore, to there's got to be another way. There's got to be a way I can have purpose, have this big heart, have these big emotions, and still feel purposeful and helpful. Then it's, how do I get more aware? How do I take better care of myself? How do I discern what's mine and what's not? To, I stand and hold and embody who I am, where I am. That's all well and good. The people I'm meant to help will see that. They'll be thirsty for it. They'll notice me shining, not in a sense of I'm higher, better than them, but because I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm peaceful, I'm okay. And when people want that, they're thirsty for it and they search for it and then they find it. And when they see you shining, rather than I can't live like this anymore, that's a whole new kind of healing, both for yourself and for what you want to do in the world for people. So lastly, we'll talk about some practical integration for maybe you do realize, or maybe this does sound like you're a very empathic person that has operated for good time as a bridge, as a peacekeeper, as an emotion holder for others. And it's a hard existence. And maybe you don't want to live like that anymore. And so in your integration, in your process of doing this inner work, getting over the ego, and then learning to stand in your own beauty of a lighthouse, the real-time integration practices I've used is the daily question. I've used this on the daily of asking myself, is this mine? Is this mine to carry? In the simple stopping and asking yourself and becoming aware of a heavy emotion, overwhelm, feeling ungrounded, feeling tension, feeling this urge to reach out, overgive. In the stopping and asking yourself, is this mine? Is this my energy? Is this my pain? Is this my ungroundedness? If it is, great. What do I want to do about it? If it isn't, great. I get to let that go back to sender, back to whoever it is, so that I can return to a full cup, so that I can give from a full cup, take care of me, and give in a more present and potent way. So that continual awareness check-in question, is this mine? Healthy boundaries, discerning what's yours and what isn't, is all part of the self-awareness process. Then comes restraint, that muscle you need to do of restraining yourself from reaching, from holding up others, or from wanting to save. That's a little bit of a process in itself of when you want to overgive, when you want to go out of your way to do something, when you feel like you want to get in somebody else's stuff. Not that it's drama, but it's their emotions, their turmoil, whatever it is. Before you feel like you want to step in and get involved, the daily integration is practice some restraint. I see that this isn't mine. Do I have the ability to do something practically helpful about it from I'm a lighthouse and I'm going to stay in my lane kind of standpoint? Because if I have to get in the ditch with somebody, now I'm not operating from my highest and most aligned self. And then lastly, noticing those moments where you do, step down, get in somebody else's storm, not down in a negative sense, but I'm saying get in that rescuer mode. It is still a daily practice for me to look back and reflect and realize, like, oh yeah, I kind of went out of my way about that scenario, or that didn't really help us, or that wasn't as beneficial as I wanted to. And I believe it was because I just got over invested in the other person's side of things rather than staying in myself, staying in my frame, my truth, and just doing what I knew I could do and letting go of what wasn't my responsibility. So, in those daily check ins and the building of the self awareness, as well as the self restraint to reach out, to hold up, to save, you will start to show yourself a new type of lifestyle and build that new belief system of this is the type of light workers, this is the type of healers that the world is needing now. And so, in closing, I would like to express with you and share with you the beauty of how I noticed the difference in feeling like you and I, us empathic people, were never meant to carry another soul across their storm. We are meant to stand on our own, go through our own storm, come out on the other side, shine the way we shine, however that is, whatever flavor that is, and trust that those who want to rise will see you, will find you, will thirst for you and connect with you. And those that aren't ready, that's okay. Their navigation is their responsibility, not yours to carry. So I hope that this really reached the right crowd today. I hope that if you're an empath, you start to see the beauty and you start to make the shifts in your life from being a bridge type empath to a lighthouse, because I will tell you, it feels so much better. I feel better. The people around me that want those things feel better. And I am no longer carrying responsibilities that aren't mine, and I'm moving through the world in new ways that I never used to be able to. So I hope that's you, and I hope that you find a similar process in your own good fashion. Keep seeking, keep softening, keep showing up. Remember, the light you're looking for is the light you already are. Take care.